Did you watch the coronation on Saturday? The big moment for King Charles had some pretty amazing times, but some others that were just bizarre. Hey guys, I'm your host Lauren, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 strangest moments from King Charles' coronation. Number 10, Katy Perry. Katy Perry was one star who became the unlikely meme during the weekend. As the hashtag Lavender Lost Girl started trending, she seemed to lean into the whole viral moment. Katy Perry was one of the musical acts that performed during the coronation, but she seemed to have some difficulty earlier in the coronation weekend. Clips started circulating Twitter showing the star walking around looking pretty confused as she was trying to find her seat. One user commented on the clip writing, "This is us looking for her next album." Another added, more concerned about her hat more than anything, and wrote, "Can anyone even see past your hat?" Katy noticed pretty quickly that fans were watching her struggles and tweeted, "Don't worry guys, I found my seat." Not only that, but she was caught taking selfies with fans and other attendees, which had a few viewers questioning if that was even allowed. One Twitter user wrote, "I thought you weren't allowed to take selfies outside the Abbey during the coronation." Seems she had other struggles as well though, as photos emerged of the singer looking to be stumbling as she made her way into the ceremony. One viewer commented saying, "Why is she always confused, puzzled, lost, and clumsy?" Number 9, the Coronation Chair. Maybe not so much bizarre, but definitely interesting is the Coronation Chair and the efforts made to have it ready for the ceremony. The wooden chair is actually 727 years old, which has been used during the crowning of 38 monarchs over the past 7 centuries. With it being commissioned back in 1308, it's definitely seen many historic moments. The chair took quite some time to get ready for the big day though. A specialist in these types of antiques explained, "It is an exquisite example of medieval craftsmanship, so little of which survives today." When explaining the process of preparing it for the day, she shared that they had to reattach paint with tiny amounts of glue, as well as removing dirt with a special goat hair brush. The Stone of Destiny is also encased below the chair, which dates back even further to 1296. The Stone of Destiny is a large sandstone which Scottish monarchs would sit during crowning ceremonies, and was brought from Scotland to be reunited with the chair for the ceremony, before being returned. This is another piece of the coronation that added to the extreme price tag of being reportedly over $200 million, which is definitely a hit for UK citizens who are currently living in a housing crisis. Number 8, we have the sword. You wouldn't think that the sword was as heavy as it was of how Penny Mordaunt was holding it, but it really was. Penny, who is a British politician and leader of the House of Commons, carried the 17th century sword of state during the ceremony. The moment was historical in itself, as she is the first woman ever to perform this role at a coronation. But was it harder than it appeared? Penny carried the huge sword for a total of 51 minutes without looking to struggle at all. Personally, I wouldn't have been able to handle that at all. The Guardian decided to see how tough it would have actually been to manage. The sword itself weighs 8 pounds, and after a journalist from The Guardian put herself to the test, she explained that the burn was extreme, saying, "I tried tucking my arms against my hips to bear the weight, but that did not work for long. And I did not see Penny doing that." As it turns out, Penny was preparing for this moment and did some strength training before the big event. It is reported that she had been doing push-ups to lead up to this moment, and it really looked to pay off. Number 7, the protests. If you've been on the coronation side of TikTok, I'm sure you've seen the pretty intense protests that were occurring during the ceremony. While thousands of royal fans gathered in central London to get a glimpse of the new king and queen, there were many others who gathered to protest the whole thing. Protesters took to the streets, wearing yellow t-shirts, booing and chanting "Not my king" during the morning of the coronation. It wasn't long before the police began detaining people from the Republic, which is the largest anti-monarchy group in Britain. The director of the group told CNN during the protest, "They didn't say why they were arresting them. They didn't tell them or us where they were taking them. It really is something out of the police state." Going on to add, he said, "I think people are quite perturbed by the police reaction, but the crowd's reaction to us has been overwhelmingly friendly." The Republic posted on Twitter during the weekend, "So much for the right to a peaceful protest." The police released a press statement and said, "A total of 52 arrests have been made today for offenses including affray, public order offenses, breach of the peace, and conspiracy to cause a public nuisance. All these people remain in custody." This angered the group, and they tweeted on Saturday, "Instead of a coronation, we want an election. Instead of Charles, we want a choice. It's that simple." Number 6, Louis stealing the show. Prince Louis continues to steal the show at royal events. The 5-year-old son of Prince William and Kate Middleton was caught yawning, waving, and just looking generally bored during his grandfather's crowning. Louis has gone viral in the past for his expressions. Louis was deemed meme-worthy after pulling faces during Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee last summer, and this royal event was no exception. During the balcony moment, social media users loved it and praised Louis for his relatable behavior. One fan tweeted, "Prince Louis's yawn is all of us after 2 hours," while another user called him the meme king. Reportedly, Buckingham Palace was preparing though, and had a nanny on standby to take Louis away if he misbehaved. But it looks like he was only taken away for a brief moment an hour and a half in. Louis continued his iconic behavior while in the carriage driving to Buckingham Palace with his family, and made faces to fans the whole way there out the window. Looks like after that, his title of meme king will continue on. Number 5. Prince Harry moments. The moment that was keeping many on edge for months is Harry's attendance at the event. All eyes were on Harry as he arrived at the coronation, with palace organizers reportedly worried for any drama that might follow him. While he looked to be in pretty good spirits, viewers were quick to notice his pretty animated facial expressions during the event. Harry sat in the third row of the event with his cousin Princess Eugenie. Being third row is a snub from the family, but it gets worse for him. He ended up being completely blocked by a giant feather which was on Princess Anne's hat. Harry was seen greeting his relatives and other guests, but like Louis, he pulled quite a few faces. Harry went from grinning and laughing to an expression that many believed looked like he had just seen a ghost. Luckily, he didn't look nervous being there though. An insider shared, Harry was confident and seemed genuinely quite elated throughout the ceremony. Going on to add, he then proceeded to perform a display of which looked like a rather cocky bravado. Harry ended up spending less than 28 hours in the UK, really only making a quick appearance to witness his father's historical moment. But a source close to the royal family claims that the quick trip left a few wondering what the point even was. The insider shared, some wondered why Harry even bothered to come at all. But do you think he should have had a bigger role at his family's coronation? Many viewers believe not. One social media user wrote, he chose not to be a working royal and chose not to live in this country. He also chose to make a series of allegations, insinuations, and claims, none of which have been proven. It was also reported that Harry did visit the palace briefly after the service, but didn't end up seeing his family before he left to catch his flight to LA. Number 4. Prince Andrew booed. Prince Andrew didn't have a great start to the ceremony. The royal is the third child of the late Queen Elizabeth and has had some pretty intense accusations made against him over the years. After being accused of SA, he denied his involvement, but instead paid an undisclosed amount to the victim. Not long after this, he stepped back from public duties and lost many of his UK military titles. Because of his very messy past, he played no role at his brother's ceremony and was faced with some pretty loud boos as he was driven past the crowds on the weekends. He and Harry were both not invited up to the balcony as neither are working royals, but it seemed like he really wasn't that missed. Protesters held up signs during the ceremony that read, "God Save Virginia Geoffrey," who was the alleged victim of SA. Number 3. The Grim Reaper. Was the Grim Reaper in attendance at the coronation? As more than 20 million people tuned in to watch the event, a few noticed a pretty creepy sight. There appeared to be a mysterious-looking cloaked figure walking through Westminster Abbey. The moment quickly went viral on social media, with users believing it was the Grim Reaper looking to collect souls. One Twitter user wrote, "Does anyone else notice the Grim Reaper at Westminster Abbey?" with another adding, "Who invited the Grim Reaper?" Others went on to question if this was a weird prank or if it was just a random person who just looked like the Grim Reaper. But after being contacted by Newsweek, Westminster Abbey explained who the figure really was. They explained the person was a verger who is a member of the Abbey community who helps out with religious services. Either way, the clip definitely spooked a few viewers. Number 2. UFO. Did you catch the UFO looking moment during the flyover? Simon Balston, a photographer who claims there have been a lot of UFO sightings in the area recently and believes he caught photo evidence of one. While taking photos of the flyover, he spotted a strange object. Simon explains he doesn't know what the object was, but shares that UFOs have been seen much more frequently, sharing, "There has been a lot of strange UFO sightings recently, so I thought other people might be able to guess what it was." While explaining his strange photos, he says, "I was shooting some photos from the 13th floor of my apartment building in Limehouse, while the red arrows did their flyover." Going on to say, "I enhanced the image and tried to increase the spec to see what it was. It looks like a floating acorn or something." What do you guys think? Could this be a UFO sighting? Number 1. We have 3 Camillas. From celebrities to royals, there are plenty of big names in attendance during the coronation. But who were the 2 women accompanying Camilla? Camilla had 2 women beside her during the crowning. One was her sister Annabelle Elliott, and the other was Lady Lansdowne. While taking over as queen consort, Camilla decided to get rid of the title of ladies in waiting and instead made the role something less frequent and a lot less formal. But there was something about the women that really got viewers talking. They all looked pretty similar. With the two women wearing a matching dress, Camilla seemed to look pretty similar too, and fans started to call the group triplets. One Twitter user screenshotted a moment of the three of them and commented, "Nice to see they brought two spare Camillas, just in case." Another added, "They've got a Camilla look-alike," while another user simply commented, "Very unnerving, Camilla understudies." I mean, I do have to admit, they all look pretty similar. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. What do you think about the coronation, and what moment did you find the most bizarre? And we'll see you in the next one.